Greetings and welcome to the Healthy Sales Chick Show. I am Nancy White, the host of this show, and here we love to talk about our healthy mind, our body, and our spirit. And we need to nurture all three every single day, or one of those areas are going to start letting us know it's been left behind. As my dear friend Paula Fellingham, the founder of Win Win Women TV, always says, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. And we love talking about all those great ways, again, to nurture that mind, body, and spirit. And I have extraordinary guests. And this evening, I've got a beautiful woman. We cannot wait to share with you more about her. And welcome, Sharon. I'm so grateful that you are here with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. It's great to be here, and I hope we inspire people with wisdom and courage to thrive.
Absolutely. And Sharon, I'm going to share with everybody just a little bit about what we're going to talk about, because a lot of times this subject is never talked about very much. And Sharon is a Spark and retirement coach, and I bet you haven't heard of that before. But also, the question we're going to talk, and the topic is, have you ever felt invisible? And we're going to touch on a few places: our mental strength, feeling invisible, what that means, and also purpose. Because a lot of times people go through life and they just really don't even know what their purpose is, especially if you're a woman and you've gotten married and you have children and you raise children and everything, and you get to a point in life and you're sitting there going, now what am I supposed to do? But just a little bit about this beautiful lady. For most of her life, Sharon felt invisible. And when retired, she wondered again how if she was productive. Today, she is a motivating influencer at 76, and she's getting ready to go on a cruise we'll talk about later too. But anyway, she's an author, a podcast guest, and the queen of courage on Instagram. Her days now feel right since finding her spark. This transformation she experienced is being offered to the public for the first time. Sharon is the perfect person to help others, and it makes them matter outside of their work. They live meaningfully, impact life with wisdom and confidence, and they find that inner spark, and it doesn't ever have to go out. Sometimes it just needs a little bit more fueling, and she's going to share with us. But Sharon's sparkle, passion, and her youthful appearance easily confirmed mental strength and faith have given her a healthy lifestyle. And you know what? The potential has intrigued Sharon from a very young age about the potential of different things. Curiosity does not kill the cat. Curiosity spurs on amazing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and advancement. And she loves uniqueness. So that's what she sees in people from her behavioral science perspective. She inspires curiosity and possibilities in everyone. I'm so grateful you're here again, Sharon, and I love asking this question. What was it that has led you all this time and experience and guided you to where you are today?
Well, that would be my faith, and I've always really strove to be obedient to what I feel in my heart to do. And that's not always easy. You know, sometimes when there's you're on vacation and you hear a little voice in your head when you're watching that fire burning or looking out at the ocean, and those little voices sometimes surprise you, scare you maybe, because they seem so amazing, and I couldn't do that. But I have tried to be obedient to when I'm get a word in my spirit. And nowadays, I pray for 20 people before I get out of bed in the morning. And while I'm praying for those 20 people, often I get one of those little messages. And just, I think it was late last week, I got I say fresh courage in retirement, but then I thought it would be even better if I said fresh courage to thrive, because that would include everybody. And we all need encouragement and others to help us beef up our courage. And that's what I do on Instagram with Queen of Courage.
love it. And sometimes people they get beat down sometimes, Sharon, and life happens, and that little courage just sort of continually dwindles away. But it reminded me of the lion on the Wizard of Oz with the courage and just sometimes we just have to get up and roar, whether we feel like it or not. And so when you talked about, and this goes right into our topic about mental strength. So when some people don't have the mental strength, you and I both know that we can exercise and strengthen all parts of our body, mind, body, and spirit. So when you talk and share about mental strength, what are you talking about?
Well, when I moved from Seattle area down to Tampa, Florida, I knew maybe 4 or 5 people there, but I never saw them hardly at all. I wasn't working with them, but they had transferred down there ahead of me. And my friends here said that, well, when you get down there, before you turn around and come back home because you're homesick, they said, well, give yourself 6 months. And by 3 months in, I thought, I got this. By the 4th month, I was kind of second guessing myself. And so I looked up a bunch of scriptures on courage, and I found several of them in Joshua chapters 1 and 2. And it said, do not be afraid, be of good courage, be of great courage. Do not be afraid. And so I started stomping my foot and saying, I refuse to live my life based on fear. What a difference that made. I'm still I don't like insurance because it's based on fear. A certain amount of insurance is probably a good idea, I have to admit. But my insurance is in heaven,
Yeah. Well, we just probably need enough insurance just to get us buried so we don't leave a burden on anybody else.
Yeah, that would be wise. Yes. So but after I retired, I about 4 months in, I think that I came across a webinar from the UK on how to have mental strength. Now, it was a whole week of 1-hour segments, and I could only attend the first one. And what I got out of that first one, he said, well, before you go into a tense meeting or meeting somebody for the first time that kind of scares you, he said, first recall to memory, recall to mind a warm memory. And he said, then hold that warm memory for 15 seconds and then go into your meeting and it'll go much better. So he gave an example of his warm memories. He'd always wanted to fly an airplane. And his picture was his son in the back seat that was 3-4 years old. And he felt so good about giving his son a airplane ride that he was, the pilot. Well, my warm memory was from 3rd grade, being in the school program, Christmas program, and they wanted me to be a reader. And how do you be a good reader? I wonder how. Nobody taught me. So I paid attention to who I saw up in front of people, the news broadcaster and the pastor and somebody. And I figured out that if you speak up loud enough so people can hear you, slow enough so people can understand you, and look at your audience and you'll be fine. And so
third grade, right?
Skipped 2nd grade, so it was actually younger than that.
Yeah.
And afterwards, there was 1 or 2 people that said I was their favorite reader. Wow, you noticed? You noticed I did a good job. So that's what I would recall going into a tense meeting. Well, about 8-10 days later, I thought, why don't I just have one warm memory? So I made a list of 8 or 10 things, and lo and behold, half of them were in front of people. Wait, was I in the wrong career? And that opened my mind to maybe there was a different career planned for me, and I got sidetracked, but not anymore.
I love it. I just see it's never too late. I love C.S. Lewis. You're never too old to dream a new dream or have a new vision. And I've got a story about C.S. Lewis. My mother had married a retired Episcopal priest when I was a senior in high school, and he was 50, she was 50 and he was 80. But he and C.S. Lewis used to write each other, correspond. And I got one of his letters that he corresponded. So but I love that saying, we're never too old. As long as we wake up and put our feet on the floor, go, yay, I'm back, Lord. What do we get to do today? We're never too old.
I ask the Lord every morning after I pray for my 20 people, what do I need to know today? And how are you going to dance with me today?
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. So I know that mental strength is something that can needs to be continued and nurtured. And it's not a once and done. I mean, there's nothing that's a once and done here unless we're in heaven and then we're done with earth. But but we need to continually nurture all these areas. So mental strength, just like you did the recall and those things. Do you think there's other great things like, reading, learning, and doing these things that continually nurture that mind?
Oh, yeah. As long as you continue growing, you're, well, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, well, I came home one weekend from having been gone for 2-3 days, and I right away went out to my patio to water my flowers. And as I did that, I thought, oh yeah, if you're not growing like plants, then you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you know. So that's what keeps us young and adding longevity to our life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And God's not finished with us yet because we're still here. So, so when you talked about, feeling invisible, Sharon, when did you discover that, just when you reflected back? Tell us more about how that was for you.
Well, it actually, Nancy, was intentional.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be invisible as a kid because there was sexual abuse going on. And I said hundreds, if not thousands of times, thank heavens he keeps his hands off me. So I figured if I buckled down, focused, got good grades, was always obedient, and so my next, don't rock the boat, I might be safe. And I pretty much was. But it wasn't until just a year or two ago that I realized I still might be invisible. But a thing that helped about the time I retired in 2016, I got a profile. One of my friends was representing company, I think it's just called MCOR or Taylor Johnson, maybe. And the profile came back and said I was an influencer. Are you sure? Do you have the right person? I don't think so. But little by little, it kind of was on the back of my head, cooking, and I thought, well, I wonder if I am. And so about that time, I also got an invitation to be on a podcast out of New York, and they said, well, we found that you had energy and something to say, and we want to sponsor you on a podcast. So I did like 23 podcasts with them. And that started the whole ball rolling of being heard and visible on podcasts. And during the pandemic, I did write a book, Fresh Courage in Retirement, Finding Purpose, Essence, and Fulfillment. And and little by little, everything I do, just adds to that visibility. Now weekly, I do 3 or 4 minute video on Instagram on being courageous. And we all need that, build our courage muscle up,
Absolutely. Oh, I just think it's so fantastic. And congratulations on your book. I think it's fantastic when you can put some things down, because then when we're not here any longer, our books and our things will still be here.
Yeah.
And so to be able to influence others, but more than anything, to encourage others and give others hope. I think really that's one of the biggest missions and purpose that we have. And speaking of purpose, so then So when you were talking about purpose, because a lot of times people feel like, I really don't know what my purpose is. I know my gifts and talents and my roles and things. So what's the difference between purpose?
Well, purpose is something that adds meaning to life and fulfillment.
Mhm,
Oftentimes, it's a sense of a contribution. Now, purpose can be internally focused or externally focused, but most of the time it's externally focused, where you're actually helping um, somebody in the world.
mhm,
Sometimes, well, I imagine a lot of times people feel like they're raising their kids and grandkids are a purpose, or their job is a purpose. But if it especially is meaningful to you and in fact gets you out of bed, then there's an element of values connected with purpose, because and who talks about values all that much, but it's whatever is important to you.
mhm,
So integrity and love and creativity is important to me. um the Another profile said I was strong in responsibility. Yeah, I want you to be able to take my words to the bank. Count on
mhm.
it, you know. um you wonder who's got the integrity, anymore these days. But the thing that moves me beyond purpose is I when I retired, I started coaching class, and the first weekend they taught us how to write our asset statement. Well, now I kind of refer to that more as your intrinsic motivation or your spark.
Mhm.
We stood in a circle at the end of this exercise and read our asset statement to each other. And I kind of like, oh, nobody's ever asked me to define my soul before. It felt that significant and it was precious. Here's mine. I am precious jewel of wisdom. I am colorful collaborator, motivator, and learner. I am tranquil, authentic, and pure inspire. I light fires.
There's your spark.
Yeah, and that courage, to encourage others.
I love it. And you do it with such grace and just, and you flow with ease too, Sharon, which is so important because that's when you know that you're in your in your groove, that you're in and fulfilling your purpose. When things flow with ease, it doesn't mean that we're going to not have trials and trips and tribulations. It just depends on how we get through them or over them,
Mhm.
with still keeping your act together. And so, it's, God never said he would be easy here. He said he'd never leave us. And so, but that's when things, so when somebody just wants to discover their spark, just like what you did, what do you encourage them to do?
Well, a lot of the same elements that go into writing your purpose also is significant in your identifying your GPS, your
Mhm,
soul, your intrinsic motivation. Um, so the things you love to do, start making a list of 20 things you love to do. That tells a lot about how you enjoy life. And
mhm,
honestly, how often do we do something every day that we enjoy doing? Life gets kind of mundane at times. And I'm trying to remember and challenge myself before I get out of bed. I'm not in any kind of habit yet, but what would bring me joy today? I think
mhm,
God counts that as very important. How many verses in the Bible talk about that your joy may be full?
mhm,
So anyway, if what you love to do, what your guiding principles might be, your dreams, wishes, and goals. Um, what habits do you are working for you, and maybe what habits are getting in your way?
mhm,
And we combine that with your values, and then we write a metaphor. You notice with mine, it sounded like something that could stretch and move change as I'm changing, but I connected it to an event I had experience I had in Dallas, Texas, when I found this geometry teacher turned jeweler designing rings that was just phenomenally unique. And I something moved in my gut when I tried on his jewelry, and what's going on? I took them off and put them back on again, and something moved again. And that spoke to me. It's still not clear what it was saying to me, but I embraced it with the understanding I had. And I've since used it a couple of times in helping me to look at myself from the elements of what that jewelry was: brilliant and sparkle and value and resilient.
So did you buy the ring?
I have them on my dream board.
Okay, well, good. Then we're gonna believe it's gonna be on your fingers one day when the timing is right. And so
Okay,
I know it'll be right there. I know when you were talking about joy, my mom was 96 when she moved home to be with the Lord, and she was definitely joy in my life too. But she gave me an acronym, and it stood for Jesus, others, and you. That was joy. And when she told me that, it's been about 45 years ago too, Sharon. And I always remember that. And I think, if I really want joy, then I really want to see other people and do things, deeds of kindness, remember them, just like you said, pray for them, do all those things, and just, keep that. And when we keep, Jesus and the Lord first and foremost, I've tried doing it other ways over the last 50 something years. And at 72, I'm sitting there going, you know what? It's your way or no way. Lord,
But the thing about my spark that I think is so important is that it feels like heaven on earth. That kind of contentment and joy and satisfaction that you're flowing from what you're meant to, you're like your destiny. And life can't be any better right here on earth.
No, and you know what? I think it was Beth Moore that said, when we leave this place, it's like taking off an old coat and walking through the door, and then you have your brand new garment on. And I call it, it's your permanent maintenance free one, and then it doesn't need any kind of maintenance and ironing or anything. Our new bodies are going to be, we don't have to worry about taking care of them. They're already going to be there for eternity. So share with us any other things. I knew our time was going to continually clip on, but share with us anything else that's on your heart, Sharon, when you're talking and you're working with people. What is one of the number one things that keeps coming up that if you just sort of reflected back, other than courage, because that's something that you're really growing and developing and helping others with, but is there something that you hear more often from people?
Well, back probably in my mid-30s, I found on our corporate wall a saying that I've been in my bio there. You mentioned about how important potential was to me. And as a teenager, I kind of sometimes looked at myself and I wonder what my potential is. Well, I see all this free time in retirement as untapped potential. And it bothers me a lot that people are more of a couch potato than somebody that's engaged in life and still learning. I heard at Boeing before I left there that the rumor was going around that a lot of people put off retiring because they know they'll be dead in 3 years. That hurt my heart. And it gradually realized that, it may take 3 years for a couch potato to die. But here's the thing on the wall that really speaks to the potential is by Thomas Wolfe. If one has a talent and fails to use it, one has failed. If one has a talent and partially uses it, one has partially failed. If one has a talent and finds somehow to use the whole of it, they have gloriously succeeded and won a satisfaction few people ever know. I intend to impact 10% of the boomers around the world to live from their spark, pay it forward, and live their dreams, because it will change their communities and the world.
I agree 100%, and I know you're going to do it. And when you were talking about that too, because I've, got a lot of friends that have gone through retirement and whatever, and they're lost. They have nothing to do. They never did a hobby. They never did anything. They never groomed friends. I mean, you and I've been leading networking groups over 20 years, and I've got incredible resources and friends that I can just pick up the phone or call or whatever to ask information, or even prayer warriors. But so many people don't realize they can start something new. They can find something new to do, but they have to be willing. And you and I both know it starts in that amazing computer. They have to be willing and open to receive something and then get into their heart and then take action. I mean, I've heard of so many people that sit there and go, yeah, I watch so many exercise videos sitting on my couch, and I'm sitting there going, you gotta get up and move it. And so, but that is fantastic.
I have a solution for them, and I wrote this course in May, and I have it published now. It's SharonRolph.com /volunteer-course. When you volunteer, you're implementing the reciprocity principle that you're blessing somebody else, but you're also getting blessed. It does cost a little bit of money. It's $47. And I believe when I finish recording the training, I got the distinct feeling that it would change lives. And for $47, that's a small investment to realize that blessing others feels good.
It does. And being grateful and being thankful. I think starting the day out with that too, because so many people, again, are like Eeyore, it's oh, whoa, or whatever. They see the negatives, and we know that it takes 7 positives for every negative we speak to ourselves or we hear. Turn off the news, turn off the things, and pick up the phone or do something. Call somebody that needs, say, the Lord laid you on my heart today, and I just wanted to encourage you, find out what's going on. When you start reaching out and doing things for other people with no ulterior motives, that is what you're talking about, is sowing those seeds of goodness and kindness, and the harvest always comes back.
Yes. In case you've forgotten your dream, another resource I have on SharonRolph.com is What's Possible. Now that leads to a course that is what makes your heart sing. And I think a lot of people need help recalling what makes their heart sing.
Absolutely. And it can be something brand new too. It's good to reflect back, and just like you're talking about, your warm memories and those times when, you can think back. I was talking to a gentleman the other day. I knew our time was going to fly. We're going to be coming to an end pretty soon. But I was talking to him, and I was talking about, what? I just stopped the other day and just reflected back over the last, after I left corporate America, and all the things that I did, accomplished, failed at, or tried, or whatever. And I thought, we don't stop and think, well, yes, look at the things that you've done, pat yourself on the back, and just, reflect over those things, because they were realities.
Yes.
They were definitely realities. And anyways, so Sharon, what other tips do you have for us before we get finished?
Well, the What's Possible, what makes my heart sing, is in fact looking at yourself of what you could be in the near future. It's I've got it priced right now at $9.97, but after some training I had a couple of days ago, I think I'm going to raise it to $200 because it's so valuable. It's so powerful. The people I've shared it with are amazed at how it makes them feel, because it's helping you get back in touch with what's could be connected with your destiny.
Absolutely. And what is the easiest way for people to get in touch with you, Sharon?
SharonRolph.com, SharonRolph.com.
Wow, it has been a sheer delight having you, and hopefully, maybe one time coming up in the future, we'll come back for a second exciting episode. But in the meantime, thank you so much. And I want to encourage everyone, check out some of the other Win-Win Women TV shows. We've got incredible women that have got tons of knowledge, education, and understanding to inspire you and just to keep you on the up and up as a beautiful woman continuing to grow, and men. But again, and join me next week at 7 o'clock on Win-Win Women TV. And you can drop into my website, thehealthysaleschick.com. I would love to hear what you're doing for your self-care. And if there's anything that I can help you with 30 plus years of knowledge and experience, would love to offer any suggestions for you too. So, but again, thank you so much, Sharon, for being with us.